Hello and welcome. I'm Patrick Curtis, Chief Monkey of Wall Street Oasis, and this is Monkey to Millions, a show where you get a front row seat as I mentor young students and professionals to try and help them break into their dream jobs. In the first cohort, you'll meet 4 students, all preparing for intense job interviews while trying to also balance a personal life and schoolwork. The goal of this show is to shine a light on the struggles of trying to break into competitive positions with a non traditional background and to give you a roadmap for your own success. My hope is that as you get to know these 4 impressive students, you are inspired to dream big. Remember, these are real people and this is their true story. Let's get to it. In this episode, we get some exciting news from John on the job search front, even in the face of multiple canceled Super Days. We talk a little bit about poker, no limit Holdem, and postpone our meetup over a beer for 2 months when we both hope this COVID mess comes to an end. Listen to my advice around how John is trying to make himself useful in this new potential internship while working remotely. This could be relevant for quite a while. Enjoy. Okay, how much a month changes everything. It is April 6th. When did we last talk? I guess early March.
About a month ago.
Yeah.
About a month ago.
And so now the world is basically ending.
Basically.
Everyone's in quarantine. Processes you were in have now been canceled, correct? Or postponed indefinitely.
Postponed indefinitely.
So let's talk game plan because it's kind of unprecedented times right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
You're probably not going back to classes this year.
Nope, just classes from home.
Right, which means you basically can just have to take an exam and do homeworks, right? Stuff like that.
Yeah, it's basically that. Yeah, I mean, some of my professors are making the Zoom meetings mandatory. Actually, all but one are. So I have to at least log in.
Do you show up like that on your? Do you got a hoodie on and you're? Do you have to show your face? Do you have to show your face, or can you just log in?
They ask you to, but I don't. I just gotta log in and sit there, maybe do other things. I don't know. Go on LinkedIn, see what's good.
Yeah. So tell me what's been going on. So I know since the last time we talked, you sent me a few messages showing me that other places have been put on hold. What's the status right now of your whole all of your opportunities right now?
So previously to when we talked, I was about to have 2 super days with 2 banks in LA. I was about to be flown out to Seattle for a few weeks after that. And then another bank in Seattle told me that they weren't going to pick up recruitment until a little later, kind of May. I think they kind of foresaw everything that was going to happen. And then the consulting super day that I had with KPMG, I thought I had that in the bag. I really thought I had the offer. And then a week later they said, yeah, they don't know what they're going to need in a few months. So they just said
uncertainty. Yeah.
Yeah. They said thank you for your interest. We're super interested in you, but we're just going to have to put the offer. They didn't really say that, but the offer on hold. I think they had a couple spots open and I felt like I killed it. So I had a good feeling about that one, but everything happens for a reason. And ever since then, I've been maintaining touch with, the banks that put everything on hold. One of them just said he's still following up with the team, see what they want to do. Potentially they want to maybe hold a Zoom super day. The other banks, they're just saying we're still waiting on everything. I think they'd rather just meet up in person.
Yeah.
On top of following up with everybody that I've been in touch with, I've just been networking a lot. My connections surpassed 1,000 connects about a couple weeks ago. I know when we last talked, I was maybe around 750. So I've been putting in a lot of work on LinkedIn. And then with the result of that, kind of a new interesting opportunity came up. There's this boutique in Newport / Irvine. they underwent some restructuring lately with like their upper level management. They actually have offices in New York and Washington D.C. as well.
Hmm.
And I spoke to a director there who was previously an alum at
From
UCI,
Yep.
and then went to another bank, and then recently moved back down here to Newport Beach and got a position with a boutique. They said they're looking to potentially hire an analyst soon. They put that on hold. Um,
Like everybody else. Okay.
well, no, they put that. She said she put that on hold. Like, I connected with her in January. This is
Oh,
before
okay.
everything went down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and they put that on hold just because of everything that was going on with restructuring. And then she followed up with me in the beginning of February, and I started having like kind of interviews
Yeah.
with. I talked to another MD there. I talked to a VP there, and I had a conversation with analysts there. Pretty typical, not as technical as I expected. It was more
Yep.
so learning about my background, learning about who I am. Um, and this past Friday, I spoke with one of the MDs again, and they want me to basically start out as an intern this spring once everything dies down. And I pretty much made it like a point to him, like out of our conversation. He kind of asked me, like, "Oh, what are you looking to get out of this internship here?" I was like, "Well, initially, like when I was contacting the director, like the other lady, I was looking for a full-time opportunity." So I kind of like, on top of like me saying like, "Oh, I want to learn more about investment banking, more about
Hmm.
other things," I kind of said that as well. And he said, "Yeah, like that can definitely be an opportunity for you." They just like one of their analysts just left. He lateraled somewhere else. So there's an opening there. I mean, they had a pretty lean deal team. It was one analyst, one associate, one
What
VP.
the
Then
analyst just left? Do you know where he went
yeah,
or she went?
no, their LinkedIn hasn't been updated yet.
Oh, the
And
person that left because
yeah,
I mean, that's the whole thing, man, is getting in. So like it
yeah.
literally if you have to work for $20,000 a year, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I remember you said that.
It
So, I
doesn't
mean,
matter. Like if you
mhm,
can get the right experience, even if it's a boutique and you're only doing a couple
mhm,
sell sides, but if you have some M&A, boom,
mhm,
your next job, like you've now skipped like years as if you had gone to that KPMG job or the other
yeah,
jobs in consulting and we're trying to get to IB.
mhm,
You skipped years, especially if you keep taking the approach that you're taking with aggressive networking for your
mhm,
career and you just keep meeting a ton of people, there's going to be like interesting
yeah,
stuff popping up all the time. That's
mhm,
probably the most important thing that you've learned throughout all this with all the crap that's hitting the fan right now is
pretty
like
much.
when shit hits the fan, it's really your network that bails you out. Whether you
Yeah,
get fired, like when I got fired, it was my network. It was the people
mhm,
I trained with at Rothschild I worked with that saved me.
yeah, and
So
a lot of these people that I've been talking to recently, like the new people I've been meeting, they really liked, I guess, like my fire, like
mhm,
networking during this time, and they said keep it up. And a lot of these people were laterals into their banks that they're at now.
mhm.
One guy I recently spoke to yesterday, he said he was working at a bank, Kane Brothers, he was in New York because he was interviewing for San Francisco, and he said he went to New York, and then after a year. He, didn't really love what he was doing, so he lateraled to another bank in New York who only takes lateral hires. So he said, like, that I think that was a great connection to make. He said, definitely, let me know how recruiting right now goes. So I'm
Mhm.
definitely going to keep that one open. And another good connection I made was with CSUN alum at Harris Williams.
Mm.
And he said, yeah, like, let me know how recruitment goes right now. And, in a year come, if you need a lateral,
It's
like,
a
we can
great
definitely talk
bank.
about that.
That's a
Yeah.
great bank. I mean, if you could go to this boutique in Newport and then lateral to Harris Williams in a year or two, or even 2 years, you're
Mhm.
off to the races, man.
Yeah.
It's a
So I
great
mean, I
bank.
think, yeah, I think they seem super, like the boutique in Newport. I think they seem super pumped to have me. Actually, one of the directors reached out to me personally via text,
Mhm.
which was like really. I mean, that's not. I mean, I
So he
don't.
said
That's
he said it's an
unorthodox.
intern. So he said it's an internship that could potentially lead to a full time
Yeah,
offer.
full time, and I
Dude,
made it like
you're
a point.
set. So
I
like
said,
all you have to do is do the internship, kill the internship, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
That now goes above schoolwork. Yes, graduate, don't fail out of
yeah,
but like that's the number one priority is for you to kill it there. And
mm-hmm,
then even if they try to say to you, hey, we just don't have the budget, we don't have the deal flow right now, because that may happen. Like
mm-hmm,
let's say if it's like in the summer when they're like, okay, the internship's over,
mm-hmm,
you basically want to be like, pay me $10 an hour, whatever.
mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter. Be like, but I really want to be given the full-time experience. I understand you guys don't have the budget right now because the deal flow is not here. But if you guys
Mhm.
could just keep me on, I'll work for dirt cheap, because for me,
Makes
the
sense.
experience at this stage of my career is much more important.
Makes sense. Yeah,
And
I
they'll be
mean,
like,
that's
what the hell? But like, it's the smart move long term, man.
mhm.
You
Yeah,
know,
you're right
I mean,
about that, and
the
that's
only
definitely something I'm gonna take.
the only other better place, the only other thing I would say to you is if you could get into like a Rothschild restructuring group like I was in right now, it'd be
Yeah, I saw your post on LinkedIn about, like, getting into a restructuring group right now, like, or,
okay.
like, the restructuring groups, like, deal flow right now, it's insane, I bet.
Yeah, like a Houlihan or a Rothschild or a Lazard. I'm sure they're super busy.
Yeah.
Um,
It I think they store all people as interns, though, because he says his VP now, who I recently spoke to, actually had a phone call with her today, like, this
yeah,
is my second phone call with her today.
yep,
Um, I reached out to her again saying like, "Hey, I spoke to your MD, and, like, I got the internship offer, like, verbally."
right,
Um And because he told me to basically look into like start studying for the SIE.
yep.
Um, so that's something I'm gonna start doing now.
Yeah, there's a
So I was
course you can get through WSL. I'll see if I can get you access to that. But
okay, sweet.
um,
That'd be awesome.
yeah, through a
Um,
partner, so you'll probably have to pay something because it's like in a partnership deal. But you could probably get it
okay,
discounted. Um,
okay. But basically, she was an intern at first too, before she moved up and like before she moved up to VP. Like
how many
she,
people are in the Newport office or the Irvine office, whatever you want to call it?
well, previously
Four, five.
there was, I think there were previously before the restructuring there was like 8, and then now there's
Okay,
only 4.
okay. It's basically like they split, the partners split or something.
Yeah, yeah. One of the principals left to another bank, took an associate analyst with him, and then one analyst like fled somewhere else.
Got it. Okay. And so the
Yeah.
partner's still there, the lead guy or gal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Lead guy's still there, CEO. And then the MD, he specializes in healthcare. Um,
Okay.
and he kind of does other deals on the side, but he said 95% of the stuff he does is healthcare. And then they recently brought on the new director, who's a UCI alum. She does industrials and consumer deals
Oh,
like
cool.
90% of the time. And then like
Okay.
10% of the time, she kind of just picks up whatever. And
Okay.
then the VP, they're kind of giving her like MD responsibilities now too. I mean, she got her MD from UCLA, like she's like an actual
She's
doctor,
an
and
actual
she said,
doctor.
yeah, she said she didn't like it, and then she went
She went
into
into
IB.
banking.
Yeah,
And so she's actually bringing in business now.
yeah. Now
Essentially.
she said she's starting to bring in business. They're giving her more responsibility on that front. So it's
Cool.
super cool.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, even if you go there and work a couple of years and grind or a year and it's horrible in terms of, you don't even, it's hard to know before you're there if it's horrible in terms
yeah.
of culture or whatnot. If it's a great place and there's room to grow and you stay there, awesome. If not, it's
Mhm.
horrible. You at least have hopefully some deals on your resume.
Yeah. I
Uh,
mean, that'd be the best case scenario.
any deals on your any deals on your resume in this environment, it's gonna be it's gonna be good.
Yeah,
Hey man, you're
it's gonna be
joining
tough.
like the class of '02, my class, and the class
Mhm.
of '08 in terms of great timing. Uh,
Great. And I know a lot of fraternity alumni are reaching out to like the graduating class too, but they're not offering any like type of
yeah,
um like guys from '08. We have like this big Facebook page
yeah.
of like everybody current to past fraternity members, and they're like, hey, if you ever need help or if you want to talk about this and this, like let me know. Like my company might have anything open, but they're not really doing IB or anything on that front. So
Yeah.
I reached out to them.
Tell me about. Sorry, oh, you reached out to them. Okay, yeah. Tell me what
Yeah, I
happened.
reached out to them. I spoke to them, but they're mostly doing sales in
Yeah,
software, which is, I mean, interesting, and I'm sure
that's
that's really like lucrative. But
it can be very
in terms,
lucrative.
yeah, in terms of like my background and my like interests, it's not really there.
Yeah, a lot of cold emails and phone calls all
I'll be
day.
doing that now.
Yeah. um, cool. I mean, investment banking is a sales job eventually if you're gonna move up.
Yeah,
But
yeah, exactly.
yeah, man, I think well, that's great to hear. That's some good news. I mean, so the guy basically gave you the offer, and so you'd be starting when?
He said he'd like to. I mean, he said let's follow up in 2 weeks and see like where the public health and economic state, well, more so public health, where the public health state is then.
Yeah,
He wants to get me in as soon as possible because he doesn't. Obviously, I don't have like the setup at home to do anything.
You don't?
So he's,
Why not?
I mean, I have my laptop,
Yeah, why can't you
but
do a lot of work?
he said he'd like me to do like come into the office. I mean, I'm gonna reach out sooner than 2 weeks. I mean, this is only this past Friday.
Why don't you say
I
you'll
was
come in
talking.
and you'll keep 6 feet? Just kidding. Don't be irresponsible. No, I mean you got to follow the orders if it's like
Yeah.
it's illegal basically but I mean you could do a lot from remote as long as you have PowerPoint and Excel. If
Yeah.
you could get on
That's
a
what I'm gonna
call like
do.
this and be like, hey, just mute me.
Hmm. I can take notes for you, and then I can send them
Yeah.
over.
Or no, I'm saying like even if if you want to help the director with
Hmm.
anything, whether it's like arranging a slide, taking off like some industry research. If I mean, the problem is like you're not really trained up on how they
Hmm.
do things yet. But if you could even just start getting access to files and stuff. Uh,
Yeah, I asked her. I literally sent her a text. I was like, "Hey, like, there's anything you could send me?" She said, "Just hold on," kind of
yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was trying to show that I was like eager to help and learn, and they're like, no, no. I'm gonna reach out sooner than the 2 weeks that he told me to
Right.
reach out to him.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, because my guess is it's probably not going to, in California, I don't think our peak is coming till end of April.
Yeah, it's probably
I don't
not
know
gonna
how it is
happen.
down in Irvine, but I think New York's hitting peak probably this week in terms of how bad it is. But
Okay.
out here, I think it's been hopefully, I think California is one of the more aggressive states in terms of shutting things down.
Mhm.
So I think it might, fingers crossed, be less dramatic in terms of COVID hitting um, everywhere. The problem is, as soon as you open things up and everyone starts going back to offices, it's just going to start spiking cases again.
Yeah,
So
that makes
um,
sense.
I think the first things they're going to let back is kids in school. That's like
Hmm.
critical. Um, but like, I
Well, my
mean,
sisters are done for the year.
well,
Like,
everyone's done for the year, but I mean, even summer school,
yeah,
letting like preschools and daycare so other people can go to work. Like, do
yeah, that makes sense.
you know what I mean? A lot of people have kids
Okay.
too, and so like I think that's going to be one of the main things. But then they're probably going to have all the testing ready. So I don't know, man. Like I can see it being at least a month more.
Okay. Yeah. So I
Uh,
mean, I'll definitely reach out and ask him like, hey, like I have
you can get
PowerPoint, I have Excel, I can definitely help from home.
yeah, like just tell me you want me to run any sort of industry research, to her, any sort of analysis. You want to send me any slides to clean up. We can start turning them. I can do it. We can do video calls on Zoom or Skype or whatever, or FaceTime, whatever's easiest for you guys. And then
Mhm.
I can do, um, yeah, I can take notes and whatever you guys need. So yeah, I mean, they're probably all working remotely, right? Or are they going in still?
All of them working remotely except for one of the MDs, the guy
Yeah,
focusing on healthcare. Yeah, he says he can't focus at home with his
the
kids.
kids. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna watch this, but yeah,
Yeah.
hey,
So I think basically I would try to don't be crazy aggressive in terms of getting work online because they may
hmm,
just not want to deal with trying to train you remotely
hmm,
because it's already
makes
hard
sense.
enough to train somebody like live. So maybe just be like asking if you can get access to like their intranet or their files
Okay,
remotely. I think that would be good because then you could look at old models, old deals, and start getting familiar with like what they've done recently.
okay,
That would be helpful. But yeah, man, I mean, if they can bring you on, even if they're paying you dirt cheap, nothing, having a job, graduating to this in the right in the industry kind of you want to be in, um, potentially long term to set yourself up to either lateral to a strong bank or even stay there, or lateral
mhm.
to a really strong middle market shop to help you potentially get to the buy side or do whatever you wanted, corp dev, corp fin. Um, I think that would be an amazing scenario coming out of this.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah. Fingers crossed. I mean, I have a good feeling about this. Like, I
Yeah.
had a
So
good feeling
anything
that
else?
he.
That sounds like you had been chatting with him for a while, or that was a new one.
Yeah, no, I've been chatting with them since like January. Then it was kind
Yeah.
of put on hold for a little bit.
Right.
Then reached out to me end of February,
Right. The
and we kind
restructuring.
of started.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's good. And then anything else? You had a couple good other contacts you said from the latest batch of networking and stuff.
yeah, just been networking, reaching out to people. I mean, getting referrals to speak with other people. Basically everything that like all the good conversations that I had. They either have given me advice to speak to other people who would
Or
think
when
they'd
you're
be
reaching out to
beneficial.
new people, are you saying like something like, "Hey, I know it's crazy times," or Are you like, are you doing the same exact blast you did before?
No, kind of like I know, like I understand, like your firm's not technically hiring. Like right now, I kind of like throw in like with the current like economic and public
Yeah,
health climate, I understand your firm may not be hiring 2020 analysts or like you guys are all done. Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like I'd love to learn about you, your career, and like the firm.
Perfect. Yeah,
They're really receptive to that. And I think they're really happy that I'm reaching out during this time.
yeah.
I mean, everybody's working at home. Nobody's seeing anybody.
Yeah,
Maybe they want somebody new to
people are
talk to.
open. People are open to
Yeah,
chatting now. Oh, this
yeah.
kid wants
So
to chat me about his career. He knows we're not going to hire him. So all right, I'll get on the phone with him.
yeah, but like when I do hop on the phone with them and I do get to show off my personality and give them my resume, show off my background. I think they're really receptive to keeping that line of communication open.
Totally.
And
You could do a lot of damage over the next couple of months.
yeah, and that's what I'm hoping for. Like just reaching out to these people and keeping the connections open. Actually, there's this other firm. This is kind of weird that
Yeah.
popped up on Handshake, like UCI's like,
Hmm.
um, okay,
Yeah.
and
Handshake, for the listeners that don't know, it's basically a online like job portal for like that a lot of colleges use, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
So it
This
popped
was
up.
a
Hmm.
this was an interesting opportunity. It's a investment firm,
Hmm.
call themselves a VC, but they do direct secondaries in startup companies. So they invest in these startup companies that are usually later stage through acquiring shares from employees or other venture capitalists that are trying to exit. Um,
Interesting.
and I spoke to the analyst or associate. He's an associate now that posted the job
Hmm.
on Handshake. We found him on LinkedIn and we had a good phone call and we've just been chatting here and there on LinkedIn. Like I just been asking questions about the startup space, about different SaaS companies, and we've just been having like mutual conversations. He told me at the time of our initial phone call that they were going to put the recruiting process on hold until everything goes back to normal, until they can bring people in.
Yeah.
Um, but that's something that really piqued my interest. That once they do start bring people in, I'm definitely going to go in and like interview with them.
Yeah, you should. I mean, it's a little. I'd be careful with jobs with like when you're missing in secondaries or doing kind of just making sure you're looking very carefully about the type of analysis you're doing in that
Okay.
role, in the analyst role. So make sure it's not like some weird repetitive analysis where you're just looking at like where it's not like a fund to funds type role where
Okay.
you're buying up positions from VC funds. And
Mhm.
I think it probably would be interesting, but it's I don't know in terms of how they're evaluating these companies.
So
But
you want like, I mean, in terms of like my future career outlook, you would say it's more beneficial to get some maybe like financial modeling or quantitative like valuation work
yeah,
versus some
because
qualitative.
my
Okay.
worry is you go into this space and then like you start getting into like these you get a little bit it gets a little bit softer, or you get yourself super niche into like software SaaS, for example, and you're only you know SaaS extremely well. uh,
Yeah.
and then you're basically like an expert there, but like now where can you take that, where else can you take that,
Makes sense.
and apply, I mean, potentially other places, but like my greater concern is the type of work you'd be doing day to day there and how
Hmm.
applicable that is across a wide range of industries, where it's like financial modeling and Excel work and
Hmm.
PowerPoint work is basically any company
Yeah.
could use
Okay.
that. Like any company can use those skills. Almost any company can use those skills. Whereas like if you're investing in like a niche type of like VC fund or in a secondaries fund, like if it was
Hmm.
VC where you're actually evaluating companies and like making direct investments, uh,
Hmm.
I'd be a little more excited. But if it's an odd like fund to fund situation where they're only investing in secondaries, you just be careful about the function of this specific job, not how it's cool what they're
Okay.
doing, but what is your role going to be in there, to think about like, is that good for me as my first step out of school?
Okay. That makes
Because
sense.
the other
Yeah, I'll
thing is,
definitely think about it
if you
similar
brand
then.
yourself if you brand yourself as VC, it's good if you want to stay in VC long time, or if you're really passionate about like early stage. Um,
Hmm.
but it's also could potentially hurt you if you do want to get into more of the financy realm later. They'll be like, everything says VC on your
Hmm.
on your resume. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like banking keeps a lot of doors open, which is why a lot of kids do it.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely like think about it and ask
But
specifically about
yeah,
like the type of work
of
that he
course, yeah,
does.
follow it up. Definitely follow it up. Learn more about it. I think VC is exciting.
Okay,
It's a
cool.
cool space. So yeah, for sure. I think don't drop it just because I said, hey, it's just more about like do your diligence specifically around the role, like really drill down and
Okay.
like what's the day to day like for that. Like how are they
Okay.
even sourcing the opportunities to purchase these shares?
Mhm. Got it.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
From like the
cool.
employees or from the funds themselves. You know,
Mhm. Okay.
it's an interesting business model.
It is. I mean, they've had some pretty successful like investments on their site. They've had 4 companies that have IPO'd, so seems pretty interesting.
Nice.
But yeah, no, it definitely makes sense what you're talking about in terms of trying to get that right experience out the
Yeah,
gate
and you got to be careful
versus
too when they like let's say they purchased a secondary after like Series C and then something IPO'd. That doesn't mean they
Mhm.
had a huge return.
Yeah,
Doesn't
yeah,
mean they
definitely
killed it.
not.
You know what I mean? They could be like
Mhm.
they could be getting in
Just
late, or
like
they could have had a couple
this
battle.
much.
Yeah, or they could
Yeah.
have a little sliver. They put in like 5 million or something like that, and great. It went to 15 million, but then they wrote 3 other checks that went to zero. And you don't hear
Mhm.
about those. So like
Makes sense.
you don't know. Um, so I think just drilling down a little bit into looking at their track record, how long they've been around, stuff like that. It's important.
Okay.
Um, cool, man. What else is going on? Staying sane? How are you staying sane?
Yeah, I mean, just been going on runs, which I've never done before. Can't go out and play basketball, so I've
Yeah.
been going out on runs. I recently picked up like studying like the game of poker, specifically Texas Holdem, like actually studying it,
Ah.
the statistics behind it.
All right, ready? I'm
Um,
going to quiz you.
I'm not that good yet, but
What are your percentages of hitting a
oh
flush?
yeah,
What are
yeah,
your
no.
percentages of hitting a flush after 2 suits come out on the flop? I'll give you a hint. It's not
Percentages
50%.
of hitting a flush if
Yeah,
two
on the
suits come
turn or
out.
the river. Yeah, 2 suits. So if you have heart, diamond, let's say, what's your odds of heart coming out on the turn or the river?
Okay, hold up. So you're saying what's your percentage of hitting a flush if you already know the flop?
You know the flop. You got two. Sorry,
Mhm,
you got two hearts in your hand, and you have two
mhm.
hearts on the board. So you just need one. You're one to a flush. You need one more heart to come out either on the turn or the river. You know what your odds are there?
There's 9. I mean,
Assuming you can see the river.
I
Assuming
know
you.
how to calculate like the equity in like your hand, but like in terms
Yeah,
of
it's
like
fine.
the odds,
You can think of it like outs. So like when you're at
yeah,
the
you have
turn,
9 outs. You have
yeah,
9 outs basically. I mean, the like
35%.
simple
It's about 35%.
yeah, the simple trick is if you're on the flop and you basically do the amount of outs you have.
Right.
Um, if you're about to, turn over
Times
the
four.
turn, times 4 exactly, times 4, and then
Yeah.
the river is 2.
Times two. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. Look at
yeah.
you studying
I'm
little.
learning a little bit. I played in a little cash game last night with some alumni.
Nice.
I put in $25. They all put in 50. They're kind of teasing me at first. I came out with a nice return. Let's just say
Yeah.
that. A
You
little,
took how much? You took $100 home at least.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah, a little more than 100. Yeah, so it was good. I mean, I've been reading a little bit here and there, so it's been fun. It's been
Well,
fun,
cash games
but
are very different from tourney.
yeah.
Staying pretty tight if it's small
Hmm.
blinds. Can usually
Hmm.
win because everyone likes to gamble.
Yeah, everybody was playing a little
Loose.
like yeah, everybody's playing a little loose. There's one guy to my left who's playing extremely tight, so it's easy to call out when he had
Yeah.
aces or kings. It was easy fold. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm starting to pick up these things. It's been fun.
It's
Yeah,
a fun game, man. I was
yeah.
a co-president at Wharton at poker club.
No way. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome.
We had a lot of house games. Had a lot of house games at my apartment. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a blast. I love the game. It's beautiful because it combines both statistics, math, like you're learning that about that part, but the psychology behind it is
Mhm.
really interesting too. So
Exactly.
like picking up on the tells and stuff is so fun.
Yeah. So you said the probability, like you're giving me the scenario of the flush. You said the probability. So is that the same as equity? Because I don't really have anybody to talk to about the game. This has been what I've been picking up from like a book and
I'm
then
talking
like
about probabilities is basically the chance of it coming out on the turn or the flop. So I don't know what you would call that. That people call it differently. They say like, well, you're probably thinking equity like fold. Is there fold equity? Meaning when you bluff, you can think of like fold equity is a term they use. Basically, are you gaining? Are your expected value going up by betting in a certain situation such that the person will actually potentially fold a percentage of the time? That's actual. You're
Mm-hmm.
gaining equity by bluffing. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the right move is to bluff. Uh,
Yeah. See,
in,
I
so
know what that is, but I haven't I don't understand it. I've
you're
like
basically
like
it's I think you can think of it as like equity is like probability of you winning. So you want to grab as much equity as possible in whatever
mhm,
situation you're in. So there are
makes sense.
in certain cases there are definite right and wrong plays. In other
Mhm,
cases it's depending on like who you're playing against, like somebody really tight,
mhm,
somebody really loose. So like if you're
mhm.
playing against crazy loose people, you want to tighten your range a lot. If you're playing
Yeah,
against like super tight people, you want to widen your range, but then obviously back down if they're if they make a stand, right?
makes sense. Makes
um,
sense.
so yeah, it's interesting, man. You should go to when this thing opens up. You should go down to I don't know about down in Irvine what casinos you have near you, but you can go to Vegas. But Vegas, the
Yeah,
games are tough now.
Vegas.
The games are tough because everyone knows like the
Yeah,
basics now. Um,
makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah,
everyone
it
knows the
takes years
foundation.
now.
To
Takes
get good,
years
well,
now.
with online poker too, like kids that are 20 years old are better than the guys that are like 80 playing their whole life because they've
Yeah.
seen the 20-year-olds have seen more hands and like the 80 year
That's
olds
insane.
because they're playing like 6 tables at a time and they see all these weird scenarios that you wouldn't necessarily get a lot of practice with in a live setting.
Yeah, makes
So
sense.
reps,
Makes
just
sense.
like everything else, reps, man, reps.
Reps. Reps. Yeah,
Get to the
that's
free
true.
throw line, stop running, get to the free throw line, just start shooting your free throws.
Dang.
You can't play at all. You can't even go to everything closed down, like the parks and everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's the bicycle up in LA, then there's Pachanga, Morongo south of us.
Mhm.
But everything's closed basically.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's cool though. I
yeah.
mean, I have online.
Talking
There's
poker,
online stuff.
I miss poker. Speaking of poker, I haven't played it enough. 3 young kids, you get no time. But yeah, man, maybe we could start an online. We could start an online room and get some guys on there.
I'm
You
down.
can
I'm
still
always
have like
happy to learn more.
you can still have a private. We could do like low stakes, like a $10 game, and just do like a private um, tourney through like Poker Stars. They still have like the
Hmm.
everyone if everyone downloads it, and you could have like a
Hmm.
private room. They don't know if you're gambling on it or not, right? So it's
Yeah,
legal in that sense.
yeah.
So.
Just Venmo. That's what they did. They did a private room and they just Venmoed on the side.
Can't do that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're not
What's
endorsing that.
happening? What's happening?
We're not endorsing this.
I don't know. I don't know what Texas Hold'em is.
Yeah, so yeah, man. No, it's fun. It's a fun game. So in terms of other stuff, like you said you're at over 1,000 connections now
Hmm.
on your
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
over 1,000.
So what do you think? How long before you hit two?
Uh, I mean,
June.
if I keep it going at the rate I'm going, yeah, like 3 months,
Hmm.
June time. If I slow down a bit, maybe
That surprises
5.
me that you know that it takes that long. Is it because you're being thoughtful about what you're writing in the message?
No, I mean I say the same thing every time. I think it's a matter of just people hitting like
Oh,
accept because
accept. So like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
some people respond without actually accepting it. Like the when I first contacted the VP of the boutique that
Yeah.
I'm gonna intern for,
Yeah.
um, she responded to me, but she didn't accept. And then after the second call, she accepted.
Got it. And so do you feel like your hit what do you think your hit rate is right now?
I want to
20%,
say,
30%?
yeah, I want to say like 25. You kind of hit
25.
like between there,
Man, oh
which
yeah.
is
So you
good.
at 25%, you got to be like 4,000 more connection requests to hit another
Yeah, 200 a day.
1,000.
Okay, maybe it's a
Yeah,
lot. That's a long time.
it's a long
Yeah.
time, but you can get there. But I mean, yeah, I mean, look, the point is just keep it going because no matter what happens with the boutique and stuff, it'll be good. And you've had a couple good calls. It sounds like even this past week, even with people outside of
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that could be pivotal in your career in 2 or 3 years.
Hmm.
Like that
And
guy,
that's
that's
mhm.
that's worth everything you've already done. And networking is having that one connection where the guy remembers you and liked you and puts you in front of the right people and you're prepped for interviews at that point.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah,
Exactly.
what do you think about interviews? Are you like feeling more confident on the technical stuff now?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I haven't had like an actual, you know, interview in a while now. Like, I haven't sat down with a firm since maybe February
Yeah.
to have interviews. So that's like 2 months, 2.5 months.
Do you want to do a
So
little mock right now?
would it be weird if I said no? Just
No, that's okay. We can do it next month. I think you should do it though.
okay. Yeah,
Um,
I'm that.
so in our next, can you open up our invite for next month or whatever the next thing is, and can you write mock in there so we don't
Yeah,
forget?
I'll do it right now.
Because I did that with Grace recently, and I think it was really helpful. She was strong, like for a freshman especially, she was super strong. But there were like little subtle things in there, especially about how you answer questions around what's going on in the market right now in COVID.
Mhm,
I think it's pretty interesting to talk about like what type of investments would you make right now? You know,
mhm.
discretionary or consumer staples or industrials, oil and gas. Some pretty
And the
interesting depressed valuations right now. Market had like a record day today.
Mask.
Did you
I saw that.
see? Did you see that?
Yeah, I got the notification. Didn't really look into it because
Up.
I've just been stuck. I had a phone call. I had 2 phone calls today, and then I had
Yeah,
the
no
class.
worries, no worries. Up over 7%, all each in one day.
That's pretty
7.7%. The Dow is up 7.7% one day.
I've
So yeah,
I've read though
it's what's that?
I read though that all like the market really has these huge returns though. Like you see these big spikes, record spikes during distress times though. So I mean, it's not. I don't know if it's like a really good reflection of the market doing well. It's just maybe
Oh no,
just
we're
because.
still way down. We're still
Yeah,
way down from the peak. I'm just saying it's. Oh, and I honestly think it's a little bit. This rally that we've had, I think, is just a total fake out.
yeah.
I think it's going to get really bad over the next couple weeks. But I hope I'm
Well,
wrong. I actually hope I'm dead wrong, and I hope it at least like calms down a little bit. We don't need 7% up days. It's just like how about a nice 1% a day where we move just 1%.
it's a little bit. Just keep chipping at it. I mean, it'll happen eventually. But
Well, we just got to know. There's no until you start seeing the curves sloping down, like in New York, and in like a few days of actual cases and deaths like flattening out. I think there's going to be a ton of volatility.
I
Um,
heard cases in Spain and Italy. At least the cases of infections have started to slow down.
yeah,
Just,
I just don't trust case numbers.
no, what do you trust then? When it
Death, deaths. It's morbid, but I mean,
I
they don't.
mean,
Even that, they're undercounting the number of deaths in New York because a lot of people are dying at home.
okay,
Yeah, so
yeah, I don't
like,
really.
but I think that's a lot more accurate
Then
um,
the
than the case
case
numbers when you're not testing anybody and with everybody with mild symptoms is staying home and whatever. You know what I mean?
doesn't make sense. I mean, that's a yeah. I didn't
I
really think
think
about it looking
I think
that
it's a
way.
lot more widespread than people realize. So, um,
Where are
which
you
is
based
good.
out?
It's good and bad. It's good and bad news. It's good news in the sense that it may already have infected a large percentage of the population.
Mm-hmm.
So like a lot of people have built up immunity. It's bad in the sense that like, well, a lot of people are sick or right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, but imagine they found out later that, well, I think in China they're saying 50% of the cases were asymptomatic, like they had no symptoms at all.
Yeah.
So like imagine they find that out, or it's like 60% here or whatever, that like the cases are like triple what they actually like the positive cases are actually triple, and that's why it's spread so effectively.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. The case numbers are just like whoever comes into the hospital. I see, what I mean, they
But
get tested,
sometimes if your symptoms aren't even that bad enough, they won't keep like let you
right?
take. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
my wife is a physician. She like early February, she had high fever, dry cough. She
mhm.
tested negative for flu, and they couldn't test her. They just said no, you're fine.
And
This was in February. This was like before it got really crazy here.
yeah,
Um, but she's seeing a bunch of she was seeing a bunch of people.
yeah,
She had high fever. I mean, I'm pretty sure she had it.
yeah. And I mean, obviously, she's around you and the kids, so
Yeah, maybe I
um,
had it. And the kids probably had it, but they don't show. I think kids don't show it. I think their immune system just fights it off like a normal cold or whatever.
maybe you're just asymptomatic.
Yeah, and I have a cough now, but I don't think I have it, but maybe. You never know. I think I'm a pretty weak immune system. I'd probably be having worse fever and dry hacking like my wife did. She's a lot tougher than I am, so I think I'd be in trouble. But yeah, man, I hope everyone's staying safe out there. Hope your family's staying safe, and you're doing the right thing by staying in, or at least going out for runs by yourself. And
It's probably the only time I'm actually going out
yeah,
or like getting groceries with my parents, but that's really it. I'm probably not gonna be able to see you for another couple months. I mean, you're supposed to come this month, right?
I was supposed to be there now.
Oh
We were
man.
supposed to be doing this over a beer.
Yeah, that's true. Oh man, that
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah, yeah. Probably a couple months. We'll probably try to make it down there in the summer, though, for sure, if things calm
Awesome.
down a little bit.
That's
I
awesome.
assume. I think it's gonna be another month. Probably mid-May. I'm guessing before they start kind of not getting back to normal, but start like reopening stuff, like
Mm.
going from non-essential to or just essential to like slightly non-essential, a little bit more essential businesses, in schools, and then kind of closely monitoring if the spike. I mean, we may have another surge in like late May, and then they shut everything down again, which would be horrible. What's that?
Like, yeah, if we have another spike, probably not gonna like
Yeah,
they're gonna shut down for the entire year.
yeah, it's gonna be bad if that happens. So fingers crossed they can get like the testing and the quarantining and everything done that they need to
Mhm.
get done and get ramped. But yeah, man, it's crazy out there right now. It's scary. It's definitely a new world here at home with the three kids at home, and my wife's
Yeah,
now working from home doing like telemedicine, and it's just like different.
that's
I think she's going crazy. She like doesn't like she doesn't like it.
so she just taking call from patients and they're just like explaining what they have and she's just like,
Zoom, and she's using Zoom and like even FaceTime sometimes when she has to, stuff like that. I think they threw HIPAA out the window, compliance, because like if it's an urgent patient that needs to be seen for like cancer or rash or whatever, they need to be seen. So
yeah,
um, so yeah. Anyways, man, I'll let you run. Definitely keep me updated. Keep pinging me on Skype. Let me know about this, like if and when you can get in. It's interesting. Let me know or let me know what they're telling you for the remote work. If you can just start pitching in.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna reach out to them later this week. I'm not even gonna wait for the 2 weeks and ask
Yeah,
um, like what the deal is and see if I can do anything at home. I mean, yeah, just show that I'm eager to help and
yeah. If
just
you have
learn.
PowerPoint and Excel, I mean, even if they say there's nothing you can do, be like, are there any files? I would ask, are there any files I could get access to, or deal files I can get access to from the most recent deal, so I can just take a look and get familiar with what you guys have done. I think that would be good to show some initiative. They'd be like, wow, he's like looking through old deal talks.
Yeah, okay.
It'd be good. And then you can maybe create a list of questions. You can ask me questions on our next chat, or after our mock, or you could save them if they're if obviously they're confidential. You could save
Mhm.
them for the director, but ask them all at once so you don't annoy her.
Will do. Will do. Um, no, I mean,
And
I don't know.
yeah, just keep grinding on the networking side, obviously um, with a tone of I understand, like you've been doing. I think that's smart.
Mhm.
Shows that
Yeah,
you're tone deaf.
reached out to all those schools in California. Like I used Sales Navigator, like you said.
Yep.
Uh, went through UC's, Cal State's, went through the private ones like the Claremont McKenna's.
Yep.
Uh, any recommendations? I mean, to like what next? Because like I had that commonality. Like, oh, we're from schools in California.
I would do
Um,
other state schools,
other state schools like
Michigan,
okay,
university, like anyone that has a decent business program, Wisconsin.
sounds good.
Just be like, hey, we're both state school kids.
Fun.
So you'd be surprised because a lot of them had a struggle getting in,
Okay.
so they
Yeah.
may be willing, although they may be swamped with their own alum. It'll be a lower hit rate, but it's still, I think, a good place to start.
Okay. Sounds good.
Or people who love basketball.
I mean, if people have that, like, if people have their interests on LinkedIn as they do
Not
on
as
Facebook,
not as much.
yeah, it'd be a lot easier. Find people that are interested in poker, or basketball, or
Yeah, seriously.
Any type of sport, yeah.
Um, cool, man. All right, well, I'll let you run. Let me know if I can be helpful over the next couple weeks. But yeah, you're doing everything right. Um, and yeah, if you can get this internship, turn it into a full-time offer, even if you tell them, "Hey, I'll work for free."
Yeah.
Um, my worry with that is they just may not have the work for you. If they're like, "Hey, we can't hire you," it's maybe because they don't have the deal flow.
I
And then
mean, yeah, I mean, they're only like 4 people right now. So I mean, would they need like the extra? I mean, I feel like they would maybe, right?
but if they have a deal, if they have a couple deals, yeah, they're gonna need help. But if they don't, then they don't. That's the
Yeah,
thing with these small boutiques is like it's feast or famine. It's like super crazy busy because you're on like if they all of a sudden get like 3 deals at once and they're like, we only have one deal team, or they
yeah,
have like nothing and they're pitching.
yeah. That makes sense. And I don't want to be just stuck on pitches.
Yeah, although I would say better to be stuck on pitches than nothing. Um,
Yeah, makes
so,
sense. All
so
right,
anyways,
cool.
all right, man. Well, good luck. Let me know if I can be helpful, and yeah, we'll postpone that beer to probably for a couple months.
Sounds
Hopefully,
good. I mean, I'm
hopefully in
still
June.
looking forward to it.
And I'll make sure I'll have my Celtics hat on next time. You wear your Lakers hat.
Okay,
We'll get a good photo.
I'm all for it. Let's do it.
All right, man. We'll chat soon.
See you later.
Good
Bye.
luck. Bye. And thanks to you, my listeners at Wall Street Oasis. If you have any suggestions whatsoever, please don't hesitate to send them my way, Patrick at wallstreetoasis.com. And until next time.